Dear scholars and learners of English, welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to explain the poem The Laburnum Top, composed by Ted Hughes. The lines of the poem which I am going to explain are like this. The laburnum top is silent, quiet, still. In the afternoon yellow September sunlight, a few leaves yellowing, all its shades fallen, till the goldfinch comes with a twitching chirrup, a suddenness, a startlement at a branch end. In this poem, as I have already brought to your knowledge the central idea of the poem, and in the central idea I have clarified that this is the poem about the laburnum tree and goldfinches. The laburnum tree and goldfinches are used as a symbol of life and fluctuations in it. So, here the poet describes the laburnum tree, the goldfinches, and the autumn season. The poet says, in the sunny afternoon of September of the autumn season, the laburnum tree is quiet and still. The tree is laden with leaves and yellow flowers. A few leaves have turned yellow, and all its seeds have fallen on account of the autumn season. Till the goldfinch comes with a twitching chirrup, a suddenness, a startlement at a branch end. Suddenly and amazingly, a goldfinch comes back to the laburnum tree while making a short, high-pitched sounds, and sits on the end of a branch of the laburnum tree. Till the goldfinch comes with a twitching chirrup, a suddenness, a startlement, amazement, a suddenness, suddenly. at a branch end till the goldfinch comes with a twitching chirrup. The laburnum tree is quiet and still, and all of a sudden, amazingly, a goldfinch comes back to the laburnum tree and sits on the end of a branch of the tree while making short, high-pitched sounds. Then, sleek as a lizard and alert and abrupt, she enters the thickness and the machine starts up. Then, sleek as a lizard, sleek, smooth. Lizard is a creature, small creature, and alert and abrupt, she enters the thickness. After sitting on the end of a branch of the laburnum tree, the goldfinch suddenly enters the thickness of the tree with a great care, alert. With a great care, she enters the thickness of the tree so that any animal may not know about her chicks living in the nest. Any predator may not know about the chicks living in the nest of the laburnum tree. So, the goldfinch enters the thickness of the tree near the nest with a great care, very attentively, very carefully. And thereafter, machine starts up of chittering and tremor of wings and trillings. All the chicks start chirping and making noise on the arrival of their mother. Machine starts up. Here, machine represents the nest in which the chicks of the mother goldfinch live. The whole tree trembles and thrills. The whole tree trembles and thrills on account of the chirping and making noise and the movement of the goldfinches. The whole tree trembles. The whole tree starts trembling. The tree which was silent, quiet, has been full of noise. It is full of hustle, bustle, and activity. The dull and silent laburnum tree becomes full of hustle, bustle, and activity on account of the chirping and the movement of the goldfinches. The whole tree trembles and thrills. It is the engine of her family. She stalks it full. The mother goldfinch has been compared to an engine, and the nest in which the chicks of the goldfinch live has been compared to machine. As the engine starts up the machine, the arrival of the goldfinch, it starts up the nest. The meaning is that the arrival of the goldfinch makes the goldfinches, her young ones, make noise. On account of her arrival, the goldfinches, the chicks of the mother goldfinch, start chirping and making noise, and they are moving here and there on the branches of the tree. On account of that, the whole tree starts trembling, and it is full of hustle, bustle, and activity. So, the goldfinch, the mother goldfinch, is like an engine, and the nest is like a machine. In this line, the poet has used the figure of his speech, simile. The line is, then sleek as a lizard. As a lizard, the goldfinch enters the thickness of the tree as carefully as a lizard. So, we can say that the poet has used the figure of speech, simile, in the line, then sleek as a lizard. And in the line, she enters the thickness and a machine starts her. Here, the poet has used the figure of his speech metaphor, machine, and in the line, it is the engine of her family. Engine. Again, the poet has used the figure of his speech metaphor in this line. Engine and the mother goldfinch are treated as one and the same. They are identical to each other, and it is the characteristic or feature of metaphor. I have already taught you the figures of his speech, in which I have taught you the figure of his speech, simile, metaphor. So, you can identify the figures of his speech easily in these lines. So, I have indicated that in the line, then sleek as a lizard, the poet has used the figure of his speech, simile, and in the line, she enters thickness and machine starts up. The poet has used the figure of his speech metaphor, and machine represents the nest, and in the line it is engine of her family. Engine represents the mother goldfinch. In this way, the poet has used the figures of his speech, simile, and metaphor very beautifully in these lines. Now, the poet says, she stocks it full. The goldfinch adds fuel to the engine by feeding her chicks, young ones. By feeding her young ones, the goldfinch adds fuel to the engine. Again, the engine represents the goldfinch. Engine adds fuel to the machine. In the same way, the goldfinch adds fuel to the nest as a machine. In this poem, the poet has very beautifully used alliteration in the line in the line in the afternoon yellow September sunlight. Here the poet has very beautifully used alliteration. In alliteration, there is the use of words beginning with the same consonant sound in close succession. So September sunlight, there is alliteration in these words. Again, alert, abrupt, there is alliteration. And tree trembles, again there is alliteration in this line. She stalks. So in this way the poet has used the figure of his speech alliteration, the figure of his speech simile, and the figure of his speech metaphor very beautifully in these lines. The next lines I shall explain in the next video. Thank you very much.